Hi, I'm Chuck, and today we're going to try something different. We will take the Swiss cheese trunk lid and make it look like new. Although it looks difficult, you'd be surprised how simple it is. So sit back and enjoy while I bring this trunk lid back to life. This is Classic Car Solutions. So, among some of the other things, we have a major thing we have to take care of is the trunk lid. Now, for the most part, the trunk lid's in pretty good shape. But if you look, all this rusted out metal, okay, all the way across. But the good thing is we have tons of structure, on the corner to see where it's supposed to be, in the middle, see where it's supposed to go, as well as the other end. So this at least gives us our lines. Now, in addition to that, we also have I call it the shell here. I should show you this shell area here, which is also rusted out along here. Okay, so we're just basically gonna have to get down to metal, sand this all down till we see clean metal, and then make some pieces and weld them in. I mean, don't get me wrong, you could buy a used trunk lid for this car for maybe a few $100, but for a few pieces of sheet metal and a little bit of time and welding and not a lot of bending, the only thing I really see here is that if you come over here, see this piece right here, so this trunk lid metal here come down and then bend up. You have the inner shell coming, it'll catch that, and you weld it there, and you're done, and you have brand new metal. And we all know metal is a lot cheaper than an entire body part. That's why we do this. So let's start sanding this thing down. Let's do some cutting, some measuring, and let's fix this, make it one. Just a couple things I want to share with you. As you can see, hopefully from this video, that the lid protrudes out in the center, comes in on the sides. Let me see if we got a bend here. And the thing that's going to help me and hopefully help you, it's going to be a big deal, is that you have your molding for this to continuously check that you're headed down the right track. So, amongst all the measurements you have to take is this lip. Why is my camera moving? There we go. You put this up there. Now, the idea is how much of this is deteriorated at the edge. Honestly, it can be, it bends over. Got bad lighting here. It's just shy of a ½ inch. So I think it's called 7/16 or a ½ inch. So you got your ½ inch lip, and then the other big measurement here is, what are you getting there? From that corner, that bend right there, we're getting about 1 7/16. And you see it here. One 7/16 is a little deteriorated, and again here. So that's one great consistency. Is 1 7/16. Another great thing we have going is we have most of the holes. The original holes were there. We're going to have to measure down the center point. But there are 1, 2, 3 center hole. And of course 1, 2, and your third one right here. And mark what you got. You got 1 3/4. 9 5/8, 17 1/2, left side of the trunk, 25.5. From the right side of the trunk, we got 25 and 7/16, so it's pretty close. 17 and 5/8, 9 and 5/8, again 1 3/4. Alright, so what do we have here? I'm going to have to do this piece by piece. That's the best way I know to make this happen. So again, we have the inner shell, and then we have the outside lid, you know, which is what we see. So first I'm thinking I gotta build the inner shell. So right here, all the way over here, sort of like the first section, all the way here, sort of like the first section. This is 36 inches. Now, I don't have a piece of metal 36 inches, but I'm going to put two together and make it 36 inches. And then this area right here, okay, we got 1 3/8 inches here. So 1 3/8 all the way across, connected to the corner, bending out like that. It's about a 90 degree. Then we got to use what we have here to make a template for these two indent parts where, you know, it has to be recessed so it doesn't hit the edge of the quarter panel where the trunk lid seats. And we'll use that also over here. We'll reverse it and build the same thing over here, make that work. And then we'll add another piece over here, another piece over here. And while we got it apart, just try and clean up in here. You know, let's get as much of that sanded down, as much, you know, and then of course prime it with some paint, and we'll take it from there. Right now, one of the things I did do in preparation, as you can see, I got all the glue and all the old rubber seal out of there, except that spot, which is going to be cut anyway. So that's all nice and clean, ready for the new rubber seal. So to share one of my tips or tricks for the day, in case you can't afford the awesome cutters there are for cutting sheet metal long. So I had an old jigsaw. Turns out I couldn't get blades for it anymore. So I picked this up at Harbor Freight. Inexpensive, blades inexpensive. You can get a good metal cutting blade here, as you can see, all the teeth per inch. And you just, as you can see here, you clamp it down, you draw your line, and you follow the line. I mean, it can't get any easier than that. I put the board here so there's some sort of support so this metal's not flapping up and down. You need some sort of backing on your metal while you're cutting it. This makes it go through smoothly, quickly. And I mean, at the end of the day, here's your result. And this will be the piece going in there. Exact size I want it to be. It's ready to go. So let's cut this other piece and put it together in the middle. It's going to be awesome. So to help make some sense of what's happening here, so we have our long strip that's going all the way across. It's part of the shell, and it's just going to attach everywhere along here to the very end, and we'll trim it off. The next thing we have to worry about are these two ends, okay? And it recesses in, so when it comes down, it's going along where the, you know, the back of the quarter panel top area where it meets the trunk lid meets. So this way you have, it'll close. So basically, you can see here, and you can't see that well, it's not so great. You have this line, it's still the factory line of where the bend is. So you take a piece of cardboard, right? You just cut it a little big, you stick it in there, okay? You get it sort of kissing that line. And then what I do is, once I have it in place, I start shoving. And I start looking for those bends. And I draw a line. And that's where the bend's going to be on the metal. I draw a line up in here and bring it all the way up. And again, even here, I draw this line. Now this is the recess area here where it humps up and goes in. So it catches this edge here. So draw that line all the way down. Okay? So now, see, we have this line, we have that line, we have this corner here that's going, and then we're just gonna have to catch some of this here and let it all meet at the end. And then after you're done making all these lines and you have this molding with a piece of metal you want, my pencil, which is over here when I need it, it's always somewhere else, we will then cut this piece out and then sort of adapt it to the metal. And then you have to work, you know, the metal. You're gonna have to bang it a little bit. So here, we're gonna bring this in. We're gonna continue this line here. This is the top. Of course, that's really not the most important part, because at this point, we're not even gonna be cutting anything here. We're mostly gonna focus on this area down in here. We can stop playing with that. Okay. So you got this line here, which represents what we're really working on. And this is the top part, and then it comes down. See? The top part comes down, and then you got to go in and sort of catch this edge here. So again, for those of you that know this, feel free to skip this video. So what we're gonna do is gonna make a line here, make it going up. Again, it's going to meet here, which is about there, right? Again, this isn't as simple as it looks. It takes a minute to figure it out. But we're going to bring this here, okay? Keep pushing down so we feel them bends, right? Okay. And metal's going to get funny when you're working it. But you just have to keep, you know, working the metal. You're not dealing with a molding that you're melting into. This down here, bring it all the way down. And at this point, you're going to be able to eyeball and just be trimming. So we'll go and bring this down here, kind of wrapping up here, because at this point, everybody wants to see the results. It's getting boring. Bring this around and follow this up. Bring this in. Follow. Bring it up. Okay. And there we go. There we have our edge here. And that's going to come up here, which is here. It's going to catch this hump here, here. And the thing is, you catch all these humps, but then you got to bang it with your hammer to make the bend. So you have to make the bend where it dips down, it comes up, and then brings down again, swoops down here with that piece right there, and you get the idea. And then you just have to make the piece fit, and then you have to flip for the other side, which you could technically do by flipping your piece of cardboard and transposing your lines on the other side. So you take this, you flip it, it'll put the same exact thing on the other side over there where we don't have as much metal to go by, and that should be okay. I'll show you when I'm done. So here we are with piece number one. Don't worry about them folds. We'll clean it out, cut it up, and make it neat. As you see, once you get it in there, you get lines, so you have your points of where things line up. And again, you see, goes in there. Still clean up this corner a little bit, tighten it up. But at the end of the day, brown this out a little bit. We're gonna work on that, maybe clean it up. But you see the basic gist of it. You get it in there, have it hug everything, as you can see, it's kissing. And you're gonna cut out all the garbage in there. Connect this, and you're good. No more holes. So here we are at the next point of this trunk lid. Now this side, unlike the other side, is much work. You need a much bigger piece in here. So what I decided, as I may have said earlier, I'm gonna come over here, and what I did with a piece of cardboard is I took this, stuck it in a spot right there, got my line there, as you can see, and I outlined everything that's happening here. then I flipped it over here. And then basically I just took it to this metal, flipped it on there, and here is our starting point. We're having the dip in here, like you see there. We have the hump here, like you see here. We have it coming down here, like you see there. So now we just have to work this thing, which actually comes from this piece we already made, and accompany that with this portion right here, which will be right there. So that'll be it. We're going to get this bent. It's not easy to get this long round bend. I know it's not conventional, but after I got my line in there, I would stick the metal in this vise and just, you know, tighten it up and give it a little push. Give it a little push. Keep going. Eventually, the contour just comes out, just as it is there. As far as that little hump that exists, I might try and get it, which is right here, but I might not. So we're gonna play that one by ear. So I just wanted to show you where we are. So basically, we made a piece here, as you can see. This is one piece. It was a little short up here. So the problem with my piece going across here, and then the corner pieces, I'm trying to figure out everything from point A to point B, getting it perfect, is get it in there. That's my thing. Get it in there. Maybe you got to cut stuff out later. Maybe you have to add stuff. Maybe you have to fill things in. But get your structure. At this point, we got the basic structure, and we still need to put in some spot welds over there. As you can see, you know, we have it attached to the inner shell, which is this. So here, you see, we have the inner shell attached to this piece up here. All right. So, and this is where the outside is going to attach over here. This will all be gone. And again, over here, that's the other part of the inner shell. This wasn't as damaged as it was over there. So we got this attached. Put another attaching piece here. So we'll finish up with the spot welds. It's messy looking, but you know, we can clean up, we can add, we can take away, and again, don't get too caught up in too much. Get a basic thing going here, and then once you get it attached back to the car and put your outer piece in, then you can trim things down. Maybe you have to redo some of it. You figure it out as you're going along. That's what this all is. I'll show you once we have it finished. So I'm just going to do a process of making a heavy piece of metal. You don't have all the gadgetry to make it simple. A brake would be optimal. I don't have a brake on me. So first, we got to cut the metal down. Doing about a 7/16 inch bend here on the line, and then I'm throwing another 1/4 inch here, the little arc it does going with the bend that's in the top of the trunk, or the back of the trunk. So what we're going to do, I'm going to stick this on a table, on the edge. I'm going to bang it with a hammer as best we can, and we're going to get it nice and flat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring it around and then bang it there, and then we're going to press it with a vise and make it worthy. Thing we do, so you get this first line as tight as we can. It gets a nice straight edge, which is seen here, and I got it clamped in this way. It's holding it in place, and you're just kind of beating this edge so that it breaks wood of the table. Do this all the way across. There we go. We're going to stick the little arc bend, which hits the corner of the trunk before it rounds out to the top. And pop our arc on there. And once you get this done, you can, change it all later. You can, once you get it all done, you can always adjust, later. Once you get your initial arc. And again, yes, this is time consuming. Well, here's what you gotta do. Of course, if you have a better solution, do what goes, follow your heart. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the edge of the trunk lid to make room for the new edge that we're sticking, new metal we're sticking in there. Leaving, of course, the slight bend for something to use as a reference and something to use to sort of just make sure we're in the right ballpark. I'm going to show you. So everywhere we have some of this corner, we're going to cut right below it. And that way, new metal rests, the little lip of it rests right up on here and sort of holds the angle. And that way, we'll tie it in with this. That'll help straighten this out to this, in which case we'll be done. If I'm not mistaken, and I may be, I always think that when these are built, that the shell metal comes here, and this metal comes here, and then they fold it there, and that's what makes the hem. And I'm only guessing that. The hem I'm putting here is for the integrity of the metal at the bottom, so you don't have like a hard edge. You have a nice rounded edge. Looks nice. Honestly, behind the molding you won't see it, but for the sake of looking neat, it seems like on the edge of all metal you have some sort of hem. So my game plan is to get these pieces in first, the center piece, clamp it in, your bend is flush with the other bend, perfectly flat. We'll start from this here and here, and we'll push this in and do that, okay? So here's our center piece, it's in. It's gonna be pushed up and welded to the back of this, and that'll tie it all together so it's one solid piece. You don't have that moving you had from when it all rusted out and was broken. Got some nice spot welds along the edge here. I'll grind that down, clean it up. Oh, great. So here we see straight across 3 pieces put together. Here's my snag. These two meet, come all the way over, perfect. But the problem I'm having is over here. When I butt it up over there, take it down, it's more of like a just hard angle. So either this half of the piece I just did is going too far up and not far enough down, or something's not working over here. Quite honestly, when I was cleaning this up and tearing it apart, there was all kinds of mud and crap back here, Bondo. Something was all strangely configured. So that being said, we're either going to have to cut all our welds here and work it so that when we put this piece in, it matches up against that piece. Or the other thing we could do, because this looks like it might work better, is cut out all the welds in the piece all together right here and weld this right next to the edge here, weld this next to the edge here, and you're done. And I mean, I don't know if you're taking this all in. This looks awesome. This is really great. Here's a molding. Just an idea what we're dealing with. I mean, look at that. This is going to be perfect. This goes down to the edge of the metal. And of course, the top edge is going to blend with the rest of the trunk lid here. So, this is that edge. But it's looking great. It really is. I mean, this isn't amazing or anything. But again, a little project like this, it saves you anywhere from $300 to $600 depending on the integrity of a new trunk lid. I'm sure it'll cost just that much to have somebody do all this metal work for you, bring it back to life, and look like a normal trunk lid again, and not be rusted out, and something to throw into garbage. So, I'm liking it. I'll get back to you. So, as we're nearing the end of this project, little light music in the background there to entertain you. You know, the finishing touches were to do all the spot welding throughout this edge of this lid to bring the inner metal together with the outer metal, to get that angle on, you know, on the angle that's going on the back of the trunk lid. After we got it all successfully welded in and enough spot welds in there, we just went ahead and kind of sanded, grinded out as much of those edges to smooth it out. And then of course we have a final product here where you can just see the finish. Mind you, we had to straighten a few things out with a little bit of Bondo, a little body filler, but I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I think this turned out just fine. So I hope you have found this very interesting. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and please leave any comments and please subscribe. Thank you.